too lazy to get off my fat ass and turn the background light off, so this is just what we're gonna have to do. Oh, I love this song. Oh, I love this song! This is a great road trip song! Yeah, I remember I had this on one of my CDs I burned the summer before last, by Grand Mark. I should probably sit a little closer because I don't have my contacts in. That kind of helped. Oh boy. Oh my god, this car is a bit of a handful. This thing's wide. Holy cow. Did that clean though? Random commentary when driving the Ruiner. Wow, what a shot, by the way. It's like I don't even have those top metal roof sections in. I mean, they get shot off pretty easily anyway. Alright, well, I was thinking about this earlier today, and then I'm just kind of still thinking about it. Oh, Jesus. This thing's a little sketchy in the rain. Wow. Yeah, it's not as... I mean, I expect it to not be super, super amazing in the rain because it doesn't have as much grip in the tires. You know, I expect it to have whatever handling issues it has. It's not bad in the wet dirt, though. This doesn't remind me of the Faction in the dirt, thankfully. The Faction is terrible in the dirt. But the Faction's just so good on tar... Oh, boy. Turn. Oh, you fuck. This is why I don't like the Ruiner. It is very wide. I think this is wider than a civilian Buffalo. Maybe. I mean, this car is fast. It's fast as well, but it's so goddamn fast. Like, how? The third-gen Camaros were not this wide. They were tightly proportioned cars. Now, the second-generation F-bodies, yeah, I'll give you those. Those cars are pretty wide, but they're, you know, I get it. It's functional for the most part. Those are actually really cool cars. I'm still not big into the whole sport coupes. I'd rather have something like, obviously, you know, an Impala or Electra, DeVille, Fleetwood. I like, you know, as I told my friends, I start with the biggest cars in the company's lineup, usually in four-door wagon form, and then go down from there. And that seems to be the case. Like the Mopar C bodies, I love those cars. I mean, obviously not as much as I do the Ford Panther platform or the GM rear-wheel drive B and C bodies. And /D, because I know the designation for the rear drive cars built from Cadillac Chain Chapter 84. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. It just makes more sense because, yeah, these big cars, they are heavy relative to other cars in their lineup, but they're older cars. So they're often not that heavy for their size. I mean, you want to see a good example of this? Look at the 1990 to 1994 Lincoln Town Car. Yeah, they are a little over 2 tons without a driver in here. Yeah, I'm probably a little under 200 pounds. So with me in the car, it's about 4,200 pounds. But you do realize that, you know, BMW 6 Series and 5 Series weigh more than that. And they are much smaller, much harder to see out of, and much more expensive to insure. At that point, you know, it really puts things into perspective. Now, you can do a lot of lightweight weights with these cars, too. I mean, I don't like using AC or heat, mainly because I don't drive the car during the wintertime, and if it's in the summertime, I just drive faster and lower windows. So I can save 120 pounds right there. Lightweight wheels, probably 10 to 15. Let me take this apex slightly better. There we go. And then, you know, getting rid of all the exterior trim. That's probably, well, it's less on the arrows. The boxes had just so much stainless, and also, you know, getting rid of the smog pump and and actually not even that, just the exhaust parts for stock are these heavy cast iron pieces of junk. They don't flow worth a shit. The headers are too short, so you make no power down low where you kind of need it because it's a big fucking car that weighs more than other cars in the lineup. Oh my god, that's what I mean. It's really interesting about OEMs because in some areas they do design things really, really well. I mean, you know, look at the reliability of the big block Mopars, small block Chevys, big block Chevys, you know, and all that. But, you know, look at suspension components. You know, we've been using rubber instead of polyurethane for the longest time. And actually, from what I've read, I don't have the article off the top of my head, but Delrin is actually better than polyurethane in some suspension bushing applications. And, OEMs haven't been pushing those either. This is also because consumers are incredibly stupid and they want cars that simultaneously ride well and handle well. You know, they don't want to feel the road, but they also want the car to handle well. And I get that, yeah, a super stiff suspension isn't good, but rubber bushings? Rubber body mounts? Oh, God. Anyway, now, that being said, I don't go total crazy on all of my projects. I mean, for example, Panda platform car, I'm probably not going to spring 20 grand for a Schwartz custom chassis, you know, Moser full floating rear end, mainly because most of my cars are not going to be putting a ton of power through it. I care more about braking, handling, and stuff like that, because I know that cars will really never be that fast in a straight line without considerable engine work / swaps, and then when you start turning up the wick for the engine, you have to start building other things. I mean, like the rear end and the transmissions. Ugh, no thank you. Get some more speed here. That wasn't the greatest launch, but I'll take it. Take it in the booter. Oh, God. See, really, now this car feels much better on tarmac. It still feels a little loose, but I don't mind that. I mean, my Grand Mark feels loose, but it's controllable and it tells you before it lets go. I don't like the width of this car, though, and you're better off driving a civilian Buffalo if you want a car that drives quickly. I mean, I get it, though. Until the civilian Buffalo was introduced, this car was pretty darn good. I mean, if you don't like the understeer and, you know, sketchiness of the Infernus and Comet, respectively. Another topic that wow. What? Oh, I thought that was a dead... No, that was just me, you know, fender ketchuping some pedestrian. Another topic I think I needed to broach here. Oh, why can't I climb? Oh, because I don't have ground clearance! I forgot, because I'm a sports car. I don't have ground clearance. That's for sensible things like, you know, news cruisers and factions. This thing actually pretty tossable. See? There we go. Just a T. Yep, see? It's controllable. It's interesting, because this is... Whoa! Hello. As I hit a bump. I'm just trying to be a bit of an idiot now. I'm just... Don't get hit by the truck. Epic fail. Now, he's going to want to go straight. He can't take... Yeah, he's not going to make that turn. Wasn't really trying too hard either. Wow, nice miss. Good job, door gunners. 10 out of 10. You successfully defended your B-17. Anyway, another topic that should be broached here. I don't get close relationships. You know, certainly after my own... Oh, Jesus! After my own experiences, and also just looking at some of the theory behind why people behave the way they do. I mean, sexual economics theory, and just other things, and realizing that, you know, even beyond that, I'm way too intense for most people to spend a lot of time around. That, I think, alone contributed more to anything else, but, you know, it's a lot of things. I mean, it's... Probably that one. I mean, my friends. I mean, they're all kind of out there. You know, we all have our intense interests and even ways of being. I mean, me probably more than the others, but they're at least on that end of the spectrum, and it's close enough. And just knowing that, I mean, you don't realize how much pressure there is to conform or, you know, not be your own in person in society until you look at some of the research and look at how. I don't know. I don't want to go off on a total, you know, informally cited, you know, spiel here, because I do prefer to have citations for my things. But sorry about that. Yeah, I'm sorry the getaway got cut off here. My camera just ran out of batteries, and I was too busy focusing on driving to stop. But I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. The fact that, you know, I like to think the USA is a country that has a lot of individual freedoms and, you know, promotes freedom of expression, but in a lot of ways it doesn't. I mean, you know, there's a certain zone of acceptability. I'm not going to start just firing off things without citations, but I'll just leave it at that. And even in my own life, I was pressured to conform a lot more than I thought I was. I mean, and there's a lot of semantic slanting that was going on as well. And, you know, I won't say I was brainwashed, but I gave things like religion and close relationships way more credit in time and space than they ever deserve, especially religion. But close relationships they're very, very close second. I mean, And for a while, actually, probably another one is probably that kind of led to that was the belief that you need to have, someone close, intense, personal / relationship with someone of the opposite sex or same sex if you like that, or vice or whatever. And the fact that I for years thought that I actually needed that, and that if I didn't have that, there was something wrong with me, which sounds really stupid because I'm actually much happier now since I've focused on things that don't end in waste of time. I know, what a concept, but I didn't see it that way, and for years and years and years, I'm fucking 24 now, and I'm only just now realizing and seeing the writing on the wall. Oh, there we go. I mean, that's kind of silly, but, what ended up being the turning point was an analysis I did. Obviously, it wasn't, subject to the same statistical rigor as other things, but just noting the general trends and approximately how long my relationships would last, and then my perceived reasons for them not lasting, and then just kind of looking for trends. And there were. I mean, the most obvious was that people got sick of me. I'm way too intense. Now, that manifests in different ways. I mean, certainly for a while, I just, I was way too willing to commit and, share things that were important and to my development as a person, but at the same time, really not relevant or welcome given the circumstance. Now, and that sounds really terrible, but it's not something you realize until you've done it, and then you realize there's actually a slightly more optimal way of doing it. And the fact that all the people I've approached since, whether I'm looking to just be amigos or, or really just anyone I just want to bond with in whatever capacity. It's probably a better way to put it. But, I was even talking this over with a friend of mine, and I said, you want to know why I came across as kind of crazy back then? It's because I literally thought something was wrong with me if I didn't have, quote-unquote, a close relationship on top of a huge friends group. I mean, my, benchmark, or as I crash a bench, my standard for excellence or acceptability was at least 5 friends, and I based this off of high school era, which in a lot of ways was probably the best time in terms of, productivity and such in my 24 years of life. But, 2 of the people I was close friends with were idiots masquerading as, upstanding / enjoyable individuals, when in reality they weren't. They're 2 of the biggest shitheads I've ever known, and that's saying a lot, because I've run into a lot of shitheads in my life. They were some of the worst, easily the top 3. And not only that, but, the 2 friends I had, I think I had between 3 and 5. Yeah, no, between 3 and 5 during high school, and that's, I don't know, it just, we had a lot of structure and a lot of the easy things going for us. I mean, we all went to the same place for the most part. We had somewhat similar schedules. We didn't live, we lived around Monroe and Wayne County, but, it was, we just took a lot of it for granted. I mean, and me especially. And then eventually you realize that's not how it works. I mean, a lot of friendship is governed by geography and proximity. It's stupid, but, look at the data. It doesn't lie. So, anyway, I should probably do more getaways, but I think I will. Fuck it. Alrighty, now, on to why I see the merit in even partake in open, quote-unquote, relationships. Closed relationships don't make a lot of sense. And it's certainly in my case, part of the reason why I was so adamant about them for a while is because I'd never really seen any of the data, the research on, whoa, what the cock? Close ties between individuals. I mean, I had some idea that, people that you associate close with in whatever capacity, the bonding follows a general trend, but I didn't realize that, a lot of close relationships I was in, they weren't really optimal. And the fact that the only thing that it did, especially in a lot of cases, was just, put people that would have otherwise had a decent amount in common on opposite sides of the fence. Needlessly so. Now, again, part of that, whoa, what the fuck? Now, I obviously, I'm not going to take all the blame for this. In a lot of cases, these individuals that were pitching friends with benefits to me, it waited until after we had done some things together. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but, let's just say I didn't impregnate anybody, but I developed some sort of bond with them, and then they just spring. Oh, hey, you want to do friends with benefits? Like 3 or 4 semi-productive weeks in. I mean, that's and actually, and in some of these cases, they went to great lengths to say, oh yeah, I want a quote unquote real / closed relationship, and that in that case that happened, I was thrown for a loop. I was very, very surprised at that, and really annoyed as well, saying, wow, you wasted all that time building up my expectations, and then you just do something completely out of the blue. And I think that kind of gave me a bad taste towards more open relationships with people just in general, because of all the times I had been attempted to have it pitched to me. They weren't approaching it from the right angle. Like, for as goofy and as an idiot as I can act, I do have capacity for logic and debate. I mean, obviously, coming up with a top 10 list in GTA 4 and defending it, that's not really the best example, but I mean, even just being able to examine our own biases. I mean, I know part of the reason why I'm so biased towards the Ford Panther platform and the big cars in general. I mean, it's not just because of ergonomic layout. It's, there are other reasons too. But when you're a somewhat big, somewhat tall guy, cars like this 3rd Gen F body probably don't fit you as well as, say, a Chevrolet Caprice, or Lincoln Town Car, or Mercury Grand Marquis, Ford LTD Crown Victoria, Dodge Royal Monaco, Chrysler Newport, and so on.